I'm a certified IELTS and spoken English trainer. I've been training students from since 2021, and I've trained over 200 plus students by now, conducting group sessions and one-on-one coachings as well. So I would tell you a little more about me, that my focus is not about, helping students achieve their band scores, but also, helping them gain real confidence while speaking in English for their communication. So for those who are new here and you don't know about IELTS, it is an internationally recognized English proficiency test for students who are willingly to go abroad for their studies, either for jobs or for migrating, right? So this examination conducts four modules or have four modules in it, in which you need to ace accordingly to have a good band score, right? I hope through this session you will learn new techniques, new things out of it, and it will help you better in a smarter and confident way to ace your IELTS band score. So let's move ahead. So in today session, we will cover that what exactly is IELTS, what are the types of IELTS exam, what is the module, how the band score is actually evaluated, what are the listening module, what is reading, what is writing. All of these things we will learn in a brief manner, with including their structures, so that you can have a full-fledged idea that what this examination is going to be like. And in the end, of course, I will give you some time to ask your doubts and to have a one on one as well, a conversation to understand you better. And you can also ask me any questions regarding from these from these agenda we are going to discuss today. So, as I have already explained to you that what is this examination is about, I would like to tell you a little bit that this exam is not just going to, help you to go abroad, but also helps you in your English communication, because eventually you need to, have a good sense that how the structures needs to be done, how you need to, speak, how. You need to express your ideas, not just the grammar, and how you need to maintain your fluency. All of these things actually covers up in this examination. So don't just think that you are only preparing yourself for going abroad, but also this examination prepares you to be good and to have a good hold on your English command. Let's move further. Now I am going to discuss that what are the types in this examination. First of all, there are two types, academic and then is general training. I would like to tell you that academic is basically for students who are only wishing to go abroad for their masters or for their bachelors or for their PhD, right? Next, for the general training, it's for the PR, for the work, and for the migration. So choose very accurately that which one is your comfort, which one exactly you want to do in your life, rather than just instantly booking your examination. There are two segments in this exam. You can give your examination either on a computer or on a paper. I will also be sharing the latest updates, which have already been mentioned on the IDP website, which will be there in your examination in the further slides. Keep this thing in your mind that the format for this examination is mostly the same. For the academic students, the students are going to, face a little more, analytical questions in it, as compared to the general was. It will much more, easy, because they are already going for the work, they are not going for the studies. So in further slides you will learn that how the questions are going to be there, how they are going to be evaluated, and if you feel any doubt in it, do please ask me. Now let's go ahead and ask. Let's see in the modules. There are four modules in it. One, you can see it's listening, then reading, then writing, and in the last is speaking. I would like to tell you that the speaking examination is mostly happens on a next day. Suppose, let's say your listening, reading, and writing examination happens on the 25th of the next month, then your speaking exam is most likely to happen on 26th or either on 27th. This is how IDP works, because speaking usually happens in person, or it happens on a video call, just like we are here right now. And the human will be in front of you, the examiner will be in front of you, all the medium will be like a computer, or you have to go to the center. That's what happens. In the listening examination, as you can see on your slides, you need to understand the English language with its accent and understand how the errors are being marked, so to fool you, how you can lose your marks. But with the right techniques, you will eventually learn that you can have your 9 band score even in listening. Many of the students face this difficulty, that they miss the errors, they are not able to understand. Some of them have problems that the accent is too much, they are not able to grab it. So I will also be sharing some techniques with you in the further slides, in which you can help yourself to ace your listening exam. In the reading part, many of the students believe that reading is just likely, there will be a paragraph and you need to read it, or there will be few questions like true, false, or filling the blanks. Yes, there are questions like this, but it is not like what we used to do in our school. It is more likely about, you need to read, you need to understand what is mentioned, what is the question asking you, and then you need to react on it properly by giving a right answer. One thing which mostly students face in reading is the pressure of the time, because you only get 60 minutes in this, and students tends to feel that in all the three paragraphs we will be facing a lot of time pressure. So I will also sharing this tips and tricks for this particular module as well. Next, we come to the writing part. Writing actually divided into two tasks. For some people, it's very easy to collect their ideas and to express it, but others might feel that we have a lot of thoughts, we are not able to accurately put it in a structure. So this is also where you need to keep a track of it, and you need to learn how to exactly write in your writing module. And as I already mentioned, the speaking examination happens either on the same day or on the other day. You need to speak not only the confidently, but also be very natural, because if you are going to adapt a fake accent, or if you are going to be like memorize the answers, the examiner is not a fool. He or she is eventually going to understand that you are going to face a little bit of consequences of it in your band score if you memorize your answers. So let's dig in more and see more in a detailed manner that what these modules are in once you actually sit for an examination. So let's focus in a detailed manner now. As you can see on the slides, you can also take a screenshot of it or write it down somewhere, that what exactly happens in your listening. So listening is actually divided in four sections. The first two sessions will be like very easy. It will be only like, if for example an examiner says to you in the audio, or a person says to you in the audio, that what was there in the lunch which was mentioned by Ria. And let's say Ria mentioned that she ate an apple, but you misheard something and you write that she ate a mango. So this is where your marks are going to be deducted. So in the first two sections, it will be very easy, but in the further two sections, you might feel that it is getting a little difficult, because it would be possible that only not only the one speaker will be there, but two or three speakers will be there in the audio. So it contains 40 questions in it. The audio is played only once. So please make sure either you give your exam on a paper based or on a computer based. You keep a track of your audio. If the audio is not working well, please do tell the person who is conducting your examination that my audio set is not working well, because the audio is not going to be played again. And the conversations are going to be real life. or academic discussions. It is not going to be like imaginary something. Usually what happens in this examination, that they take essays or articles which are actually presented in the newspapers or in journals, and they compile it down to make it a real conversation for the students, so that they don't feel that it is some imaginary stuff. Now, I would like to tell you some traps. We all know that synonyms and all of these exist in our life, right? Uh, so most of the time it happens that students tends to forget that a word can also have a different word, just like a vocabulary, a basic vocabulary cannot have can also have an advanced vocabulary, right? So synonyms should be taken care of here, because if you don't listen to the word accurately, or if you don't know a word synonym, you might face difficulty while listening it. And sometimes, as we know, that there are sounding words which confuse you, like for example, as you can see on the slide, it says Ria was supposed to meet me on Friday. Oh, sorry, it was supposed to be Saturday. So those students who mention Friday on their answer sheet, they are going to lose their marks, because the right answer is Saturday, not Friday. And the second picture, which you see on this slide, it's like how many sort of question types are there? Like you need to write in a one word and a number, two words. Let's say one word. Parrot is a one word. If I say one parrot, it becomes parrot and number, both are accurate. So this is how they want you to accurately write your answers. If they ask you to write only one word, write the one word. If they ask you to write a one word with a number, write that. Let's say if I say to you Queen Elizabeth, but the question requires you to only write one word, so you are going to mostly write Elizabeth. You cannot write Queen according to the question. If the questions ask you to write two words, so you are going to write Queen Elizabeth. But if suppose, let's say, you have only written Elizabeth or Queen, you are going to lose your marks. It listening, it's that easy, but if you don't know the exact tricks, or you don't know how to keep a track of your questions, then you are going to lose your marks definitely. And for other mistakes, spelling mistakes is the thing which mostly students don't pay attention, because either they become overconfident that they know all of the spellings in English, or they become like it does not matter. But no, it does matter. Spellings mistakes are going to deduct your marks, whether it's one word spelling mistake or the whole word itself. Don't ignore the word limit, just like I said right now. If questions ask you to write only one word, write the one word. If you write more than that, you are also going to lose marks. And let's say when the audio is already running ahead of you and you are back of it or in the middle of it, you will lose the track. Then try to focus on the paper. Try to focus where is your keyword. What is the question asking you? This way you are going to keep a track of it. Otherwise, you will do hustle bustle, nothing is going to be clear, and you are going to lose your marks. So keep sure that you keep a track of your small mistakes, so that you don't lose your big scores, which actually is very meaningful for you, because in all four modules you need to score at least 6 or above, according to your requirement, whichever university you are aiming to go for your abroad education. Now, I will be discussing some techniques with you. First, read the question. If the question asks for what word limit, read it. And before the audio begins, like I already said, ask the examiner, ask the person who is conducting the examination, that whether, if your audio player is not working well, ask them to replace it or fix it at the that moment only. Okay, don't try to predict your answer. Some students don't understand this thing, that if they are going to play this thing, name place animal thing, which is nouns, right? If they are going to just predict that, if a question says who was there, usually who is for a noun, let's say. So usually if you see a name on the paragraph, students tends to write that name without reading what exactly was the question. So don't predict your answers irrelevantly. Stay focused because there will be no second chances any of the modules until unless you actually get your report card later, your band score later, and then you go for again for this examination. I hope this slide is clear to you. If you have any doubt from this specific slide, you can ask me later. Now let's focus on our reading. The reading also consists of 40 questions. There will be 3 long passages in it. The strict limit is 60 minutes. And like I've already mentioned earlier, the biggest challenge most of the students face is the time pressure, right? Because some of them are very good in reading, they are very easy to, for them to grab the keywords. But for some, it is like, they are already mixing up everything to find that one answer to get 1 marks. So please don't do that. If you cannot find one answer, don't waste your time. Now I am going to discuss some reading traps with you, which actually happens in your examination, and students tend to not focus on it much. The synonym trap, the most common one. IELTS rarely use the same words, right? Suppose the question is says in the passage that something has increases. Now, in the question, you are not going to find the same word increase. It could be possible that they use the synonym rise, growth, climb, something like that. So don't look for the exact words. You will might lose your marks, because if you are only going to focus on the exact word, you might not see it, and then you will be like that it was not even there in the passage. Next, there are 13 type of question in the reading. It is one of the part true, false, and not given. It's very easy to understand that true means the meaning is there. The passage says Rita eats an apple, and the question says whether Rita eats an apple. So this is true, right? False means there is a contradicting image, there is a contradicting or opposite meaning in it. So if you write true in that question also, you're going to lose your marks. Here, what we never used to see in our school, that there was no option of not given. But in IELTS examination, there is this option of not given. Not given is simply that the information is not mentioned. So that's the biggest trap, that if the info is missing, then the answer is not given. It's not false. Okay, suppose for example in the exam, in the passage it says that Rohan went for cycling, and he got a cake from someone. Let's say this is what happens, and this is what written in the passage. But in the question itself, the questions is asking about a different guy, or asking for a different scenario which is not even present in your passage. So the answer will be simply not given, not false. Next, keyword traps. Students focus on wrong keyword. Let's say reason for success. So students are tend to focus on where is this word written, success. But exactly your keyword was reason. You need to find a different synonym for this in the passage so that you can accurately go there, highlight the passage, and find your answer in it. Then same word, different meaning. Same word appears but meaning is different. That's what happens sometimes when we are doing our vocabularies, right? So passage says bank or river, a question is asking for a bank, like a money bank, right? So this is where you get confused. So you also need to have a good track of your vocabulary, your antonyms, synonyms, so that you just don't blindly match your words and get a wrong answer. Let's move ahead. Now we have distractors. Passage gives confusing extra info. For example, the plan was rejected initially but later approved. So the answer here is approved. Many students, what they do, even in listening plus in reading, that they read only the first part, they are not reading the second part. Then they lose the mark. Same happens in listening. They hear that the audio person said that the work is going to happen today, but suddenly they switch. They said no, it is going to happen on Wednesday. The answer is Wednesday, not today. So you need to either listen your listening part also very accurately, plus Look at your passage once you do it on reading very accurately to find your right answer. The sixth part, match the heading. It is also one of the part which you will see in your reading questions where you have to match the headings. Sometimes headings looks very similar to you. Like students match based on the one word instead of full idea. So always read the full paragraph. Once you grab all of these techniques, you will easily tend to do every sort of question which is mentioned in the reading question modules. Now, students sometimes overthinks like this is too easy. The answers are going to be simple. No, with every passage, the it is going to get a little difficult because they are initially testing your ability to go abroad by this English medium, by this English language, right? Now, the time trap. Spending too much time on one question, it eventually going to make you puzzle and you are going to lose your motivation and you are going to lose your marks. This is what happens. If you are not able to find your answer for that particular question, leave it. Just simply leave it, move on, and go further. Not given, panic students try to force an answer. Like if you can't find it, if it's a not given answer or filling the blanks or any sort of question, let's say, don't waste your time. Just move on to the next. And the biggest thing, the grammar trap. Okay, if your basic grammar is not up to the mark, you are going to face some problem in your reading, in your listening, in your writing. So before going for this examination, I strongly urge every one of you to pay attention to your grammar, fix your mistake, learn spoken English, written English, so that you don't face such problems in your examination. Like there is an example written over here, many student, but the correct is many students with an S. So that's a very basic thing about grammar which you already should keep a track of and learn from your mistakes. Now, as you can see on your right side, I've already pasted a photo from one of the questions which actually appears in your examination for this particular module. This is how one set of the question looks like, where you simply have to, the read, find from the passage and pick the option. Same goes happen with listening. You listen, you pick the option and you tick it and you write in your answer sheet, right? For the tricks and the techniques, skim and scanning is the technique which I will tell you a little bit over here. Suppose you are reading a passage and the questions ask you that a global increase in greenhouse gases has been attributed to. Let's say you find this answer, coal mining and electricity generation is particularly mentioned in the passage. So you need to scan for global, you need to scan for increase, you need to scan for greenhouse. These are your keywords. You need to scan for your keywords, only then you are going to find your answer. I repeat again, you need to find your keywords to scan it to find your answer. This is how you do reading. Next, don't forget the fact the synonyms, antonyms, vocabulary, all of these things present in all of the four modules. It is not only going to stay in one module. Okay. This is let's say a lifetime thing if you are doing for your IELTS examination. Okay. If you're preparing yourself for this examination, you cannot just lose the track of these things. So smart reading actually beats slow reading. With these tricks, you are actually going to, get good marks for this particular module. You can pay attention to this types of question which I have pasted over here. You can take a photo of it or you can search more about it on Google, particularly if you're looking for specific tricks for a specific question type in this module. Now we will be moving further. We will move further to a writing now. Writing task has two tasks in it. Task one for the academic people. Don't forget, academics is for the students who are willing to go abroad for their masters and their other higher education. In this, they only have to do these things: graph, table, map. The word limit is 150. If you are a person or a student who is going for general, then you will only have to write a report, a letter, and task 2 will have only different essays. Let's say argumentative essays, discussion essays, problem and solution essays. These will be there in both of the essay types, regardless academic or general. Only task 1 is different for each of the students who is aiming for academic or for general. In these pictures which I have pasted over here, it will give you a good idea that how things actually work a little bit in your writing task 1. For the first image, you can see it is giving you a brief idea that how many type of questions are there in your task 1. The bar chart, line, pie, table, it looks very easy to you, right? That who cannot do a bar chart? You simply have to do a summary of the bar chart and then write it down in your answer sheet. But the trick is that they are not going to give you marks if you just simply summarize it. You need to add relevant vocabulary. You need to give the task response. You also need to maintain a proper structure, which you can see in your left bottom side. You need to mention intro, overview, body 1, body 2, completely like this. Only then you are going to get good marks in your writing. Don't forget this thing that task 2 uh, carries more weight, more marks in it. So if band score is of 9 band, right? IELTS 9 band, right? So if in task 1 you get 3 marks, right? So the next 6 marks is for task 2. So please make sure that you don't leave any task but focus more on your task 2, because in task 2 you are only going to get 40 minutes and in task 1 you are going to get 20 minutes, right? So which one holds more? Task 2 holds more, right? So that's why you need to prepare yourself accordingly to write in 20 minutes and then in 40 minutes. You can see this one example which I have pasted over here for academic task 1. Here in this question, it is saying the diagram below show how leather goods are produced. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main feature and making comparison where relevant. So basically, in this is a diagram which is telling you that how a method of producing leather goods is being done. So you simply need to summarize it. First, you are going to summarize the question, then with paraphrasing, then you need to take different element from this picture, write a body paragraph 1, then body paragraph 2, and that's it. So let's say if you actually try to do it right now, we will say the diagram below illustrating that how the goods are being produced in a factory from the beginning to the end. How many parts are there? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Let's say if it has 10 to 11 components in it, we are going to write that thing in our overview, because this is our general overview. How many we count the components in it and then we write like this only. Now you can divide how much you want to write in your body paragraph 1, then in your body paragraph 2. Let's say in body paragraph 1 you only want to write till where it is soaking, and the rest of the part you can summarize it and then you can write it in your body paragraph 2. That's how easy it is for task 1 to just simply summarize, add your relevant vocabulary and do it. Let's move further and see task 2. Now, task 2, as I've already mentioned, carries a lot of weight in it. It is of 40 marks, uh, 40 minutes, and you need to do essays in it. You can see in the picture, either you are going to ask to write an opinion essay, discussion essay, problem solution essay, direct essay, or advantage, disadvantage. Reading all of these things, you might feel that this is so easy. Yes, it is so easy if you know the right technique, how exactly you need to write a proper writing task. If you want us to conduct a writing module specifically for you guys, we will do that. You just need to tell us. We will make a particular session for you, or any other module. We will do that for you guys, and we will conduct it in a more detailed manner. Now, let's say we have gotten this essay. You can see at the writing task 2, you are only going to get 40 minutes to complete it. The question says that some people think having a university degree is the best way to secure a good job. However, others believe skills and experience are more important. I believe many of us are here thinks the same, right? So you need to discuss both the sides and give your opinion. Keep this thing in your mind. If they ask for your opinion, you give your opinion. If they don't ask for your opinion, don't give it. Okay. So the main game is in the question itself, whether it's writing, listening, reading, or what. If they ask you to do that thing, do that thing. If they don't ask for it, don't do it. So I believe that some of us might think that university degree is the best way to secure job, and others might think that experience is more important, right? So in the first intro, you will just paraphrase the intro part of it, the intro discussion. Then you are going to give your thesis statement. In the thesis statement, you are simply going to paraphrase all of these questions line. That's it is to argue that some people believe having a good job is actually accomplished by having a university degree, and others believe that skills are more crucial to have a survival in this life, right? Let's say you paraphrase it like this, and then you have to give your opinion and discuss both the sides. You simply need to talk about both the sides, but you need to pick the side which you are more inclined on, right? If I have to speak about myself, I will take the side for skills and experience, because in this today's world, I do believe degrees are just the pile of written segments, not something else. Skills are matters more in this AI fast facing world. So I am going to write in that way with my opinion. Same you have to do. But if I am not giving a proper task response is discussing both the sides. If I am not discussing both the sides, I am going to lose my 1 mark right there. Okay. If I memorize the essays, if I memorize some sort of templates to write my writing, then also I am going to lose my marks. Grammar, I've already said, if you don't know basic English with basic grammar, I'm going to lose the marks. Poor structure, the structure which I've already mentioned over here, if you are not going to write in that proper way, the marks are not going to be yours. They are asking about university degree, skills, and experience. But if you go for off the topic and you write all of your thoughts in one paragraph, then also you are going to lose the marks, because only you have to write for 250 words. If you exceed from 250 words to 500 words, firstly, you are wasting your time. Secondly, they are not going to check it. Thirdly, you are not going to get any extra marks. So why wasting your time writing too many thoughts in it and then eventually not getting marks, right? Now let go ahead and also look for the people who are willing to go abroad for their general IELTS exam. General IELTS examination only needs you to write reports, letters, and then task two essays. So in the task one, the question here says, a friend has agreed to look after your house and pet while you're on holiday. Very simple, right? We have done these things in our school life. You simply have to write a letter to your friend. In your letter, you need to provide your contact details when you're away. You also need to give instructions about how to take care of your pet and describe other household duties. Simply have to write 150 words. Do not write any address. Look for this thing. If they ask you, don't write things. Don't write any specific thing which is not asked from you. So you simply in this example, what you have to do, that I am writing this letter to you to tell you that I am going to be away for a 10-day leave, and I am leaving my house responsibility to my dear friend, as well as my pet named Oreo. And he needs food, he needs water at this particular time. You're going to mention all of that, but don't forget the fact you are only going to focus how your structure is given. For the general ILCS, you simply again you have to write your intro. In the intro, you are going to write that why you are writing this letter to them. Then in the body paragraph, you are going to mention all three of these bullet points which they have asked in the question. In the second, you are going to mention any other important information which you want them to know. And in the fourth, you are simply going to give a conclusion about it. That's easy. That's how easy it is for the general students who are aiming to take general examination. So writing is eventually easy when you know where not to do the mistakes, how you need to write your answers, what techniques you are need to use, how you should give your task response, and you should not go off the topic. Now we will move ahead and look at the speaking overview. Many of us find it very easy. I myself have scored a 8.5 band in my IELTS examination for the speaking, because if you have a good hold on English communication, you are easily going to get the marks. But in this also, you need to keep track of some little twist which they actually play for you, so that you lose your marks and you get less band score. So, firstly, please keep sure that you know the overview, the exact how the speaking exam is actually conducted. The part one is asking you for the personal questions. Just like you and me are meeting for the first time, what we are going to ask: how are you? What's your name? Where are you from? Where is your hometown? Then other questions, as in what's the weather? Uh, how do you think? That this weather is going good, and other things about climates, music taste, anything personal to very normal questions, let's say. In the part 2, they are going to ask you to do a cue card. It's a very on spot cue card. They are going to pick a card for you, or you need to pick a card where there will be a question. They will give you 1 minute to prepare for it and 2 minutes to speak on it. Again, I'll say 1 minute to prepare on it, 2 minutes to speak on it. You can take references from this image which I have pasted over here while I'm speaking, so that you get a better clarity what exactly I'm trying to refer as in the third part. We are doing a deep discussion. In the deep discussion, it means that they are going to ask you the counter questions. Let's say in the part 2, let's please focus on the image. Then in the part 2, it's ask you that describe a time when you taught something to someone. You need to mention all of these bullet points in your speaking, in your verbal expression while you are expressing your ideas. Because if you miss any of these bullet points, you are going to lose your marks. And maintaining your fluency for 2 minutes, it means, not only you have to keep a track of these bullet points, but also you need to maintain your fluency. You need to maintain your ideas while speaking. You cannot go off the topic. And also, you need to use relevant vocabulary. There is a very, you know weird myth students tend to have, that if we are going to use advanced vocabulary, the examiner is going to be, very happy with us. It's going to be very joyful with us. No, that's not what happens. That's what the examiner is not looking for. Even if you use a good advanced vocabulary while you are speaking, but if it is not relevantly taken as in your sentence, he or she is going to give you 0 marks on it. Okay, so please keep this thing in your mind. If irrelevant vocabulary is going to be there, you are not going to get marks. So, as I was also telling about the discussion part, once your part 2 is done, the discussion part is more likely about the counter questions, like what qualities make someone a good teacher. You need to like expand your ideas. You need to, let's say, keep your lines for 7 to 8 lines, so that the examiner can actually see you, that you are able to elaborate your ideas in a full-fledged manner. So in the part one, again, I'll say they ask you about normal intro personal questions, as you can see on the screen. Part two is like a cue card where you have to prepare yourself for 1 minute and speak for 2 minutes by mentioning all of these bullet points, by maintaining a good fluency, by paraphrasing, by conducting a general statement. This is how you do it. In the part three, they simply do a counter questions to more see your fluency to see that how long you can expand your ideas as in. The natural your communication will be, the better it will sound, right? So speak confidently, not perfectly. Extend your answers, extend your ideas when it is required. Okay. Instead of short answers, as you can see on the screen, yes, I like it. Why don't you say it like, yes, I really enjoy it because it helps me relax after a busy day. And another example I will give you, suppose I ask you that, how was your day today? You simply just tell me it was fine. Yes, if it is an informal conversation, you can tell me in a one word. But that person who is sitting in front of you is your examiner, not your friend, right? He is actually sitting there to judge you on your English level. So you cannot just simply give short answers. You actually need to give a one line or a two line answer so that they can, give you good marks on it. A little short summary over here, that vocabulary upgrade, how you can do it. It's that easy how we do in English, that there is a basic, intermediate, and advanced level. If you cannot learn and adapt these vocabularies to an advanced level, do it on an intermediate level. You don't need to flex on it that advanced vocabulary and you are putting it in your sentences irrelevantly. Okay, I never suggest any of my students to learn any vocabulary which is irrelevantly sounding in your sentence. Okay, you can take a snapshot of it to get an idea what is a band 5 vocabulary, what is a band 7, and what is a band 9 vocabulary. Now, I am also going to discuss some new updates with you that from the mid March only, uh, the computer based examination is going to happen, likely going to happen in many of the cities. Earlier it was paper based examination. There was an option for the students to go for paper based examination, but from now onwards it might happen or likely to happen that the computer based shift is going to take over all over India, except few places which is going to be decided by the IDP only. There is this one good news that now you can take one skill retake, OSR. Let's say you successfully scored 7 band, right? But you have scored 6 band or 5.5 band in your reading, so you can take that skill retake examination by paying the fees, by connecting with the IDP, and you can go for it. There are some changes in the listening for the non native accent speakers like Indian European. In the map questions, you will see that when the audio player is saying that you are sitting over here or we are here in this library, they might include it or might not include it from now onwards to confuse you more. In the writing updates, the task 2 is going to be more analytical, open ended questions will be there. In the task 1, it is going to be more complex. Like earlier, you see, I'm going to just back to the slide. You see, in these task 1 slide, there was bar chart, line, pie chart, right? It could be possible that they ask you to do a bar chart plus a pie chart. It could be possible that they ask you to do a table plus a line graph, like that. And in the reading changes, I have already mentioned that there are 13 type of questions which are there in the reading module. So there will be less questions in the match the heading, and there will be more questions of the sentence endings, and you will find little difficulty doing it. So you need to have a good track of your techniques to actually ace this reading module as well. And now, as the examination is going to be more likely on the computer based, so it could happen that more tests are going to be happen on the video call setting with the real examiner. But you don't need to be startled or anything like that. If you prepare yourself well, whether it is written for or whether it's for the video call examination, you only and only need to focus on your preparation. Don't focus on the setting. Focus on your preparation very well. Now, common problems before we are going to end this session, that why students stay at band 5 or 6. Because firstly, you have a grammar issue. you don't know your basic English level, you don't really know where exactly you're lacking behind in it. So please fix that. Take some classes, take some sessions, or take the help of YouTube or Google, any sort of help you which you might need to fix that gap. Practice is the key. If you are not going to practice, you are going to lose your marks. Thing which happens is that the students which who are likely to do self practice, they don't take any guidance from anyone, let's say from a trainer or from any student who have already achieved a good band score in their circle. If you don't do that feedback thing, you are going to lose your marks, right? Fear and hesitation is always there. It's not just for the IELTS examination but also for other examinations. So don't fear and sit. Do give it a chance, do give yourself a try for this examination. And if you need any help, I'm always around. Others are also around. Just everyone is just one call away. Think about it and do it. Don't focus too much on the YouTube. This is what likely happens with the students, that there is an abundance of knowledge on the YouTube and other mediums, right? So they go on the first video, then on the second video, then on the third video, and they get really really pile up with the techniques, and they are not able to do it. If you are picking one YouTube channel, let's say, stick on that. If you are choosing one trainer, stick on that. If yes, things does not work out, you can definitely change it, but don't do it very randomly that you lose your track. Mock tests are very important. Even if you do a self practice or under someone trainer or something like that, mock tests are very very important. Do your self reflection on your mistakes, either it's grammar, either is your self studies for your IELTS examination modules, anything. Self reflection is very important for you to ask your doubt, because if you don't ask your doubt, you are likely going to stay behind. And don't just leave in the middle out of frustration and book your test, because the examination is of 19,000 rupees. The fees have increased for this examination, it is 19K now. So please don't just do hurry while booking for this examination. The problem is not your intelligence, it's actually about your technique, how you take a good study plan. So I'm already sharing a solution plan for you in which you can score 7 plus band score. So study for 2 hours, not the whole day. That's the myth. Students, you will meet some people who will tell you, okay, I have studied for 2 hours, or I've studied for whole day, I've studied for 5 hours, and I have aced my exam. Make your own study plan if this does not sound well or does not fit with your routine. But likely I will tell you, study for 2 hours only. Take weekly mock tests, which is very very much mandatory for you to do. Maintain and learn to adapt new vocabulary. Don't just use irrelevant vocabulary, as I'm already emphasizing on it again and again. Analyze your mistakes so that you can have a good grasp of it, and you won't repeat it again and again. Improve your weak areas. Let's say if you have problem in your reading in a specific question type, improve that area instead of going ahead on a different module, because jumping here and there is not going to give you a good band score. It is only going to create problem for you, and you are just going to sit with this practice for 3 or 4 months. You can easily crack IELTS examination with 15-day practice, with 1 month practice, and by max 2 months. That's it. You don't need to stick with it for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, like that. And one thing which I forgot to tell you is that you can reappear for this examination how many times you want to, but just know that this examination is expensive. So I personally suggest my student to complete it, ace it in the one go. Now, this is the golden technique which I'm going to tell you. There are 4 modules which we have already get to know in these slides. I always tell my students, pick 2 modules. Let's say you are able to understand speaking, you are very good in your speaking once you keep a track of your mock test and in your listening. So complete these 2 modules within a track of 15 days. genuinely within a track of 15 days, and the rest of the modules pay more attention to it and ace it with your practice. Because instead of focusing on the all four modules in one go, you can actually divide your modules accordingly, how you are good in two of the modules and not that good in other two modules. So this is also helps you in your study plan to get 7 plus band score. Know this thing, that when you strengthen your strengths, it helps you. Okay, and then you can fix your weakness. So I hope this session stays well with you. We have next 5 to 10 minutes to discuss your doubts and everything. You can ask me any of the things which you might not get from the slide or any other questions. Easy. That's it. Yes, please. If anyone has a question or anything to ask, please do. Yeah. Okay. Just let me see. Okay. So, how can I balance speed and accuracy in reading and listening, ma'am? Okay. So for the reading and the listening, I've already told you the time limit, right? And how you can balance it by firstly practicing on the normal speed. Then once you know you are getting good marks, let's say out of 40 you are getting 20, then you increase the speed, whichever medium you're doing. So let's say YouTube you're doing, you increase the speed to 1.5. You increase that way. If your marks increases in your mock test to 25 or 26, it means now you are ready to prepare yourself in a speedy manner, right? So this is how you can do it. And for the reading part, I said that there will be three passages, right? So first passage, try to complete it in a 15 minutes. Next passage, try to complete in 25 minutes, and remaining time you can complete the third passage, because third passage is likely to be difficult than other two. Okay, that's how you can maintain your speed, your accuracy in both the modules. Now, you said that please discuss the last part of your listening. Also, you said you can give again only one module, if not get good band, right? Yes, last part of listening, I said that there might be possible that there will be three or four speaker in the audio, right? It will confuse you. So you need to have a good track of your accent. You need to have a good track of understanding which is a male voice, which is a female voice, right? Suppose there will be a John, there will be James, there will be Jasmine. There will be three person in the audio, and if you not able to identify a person by their voice for specific gender, then also you are going to face problem, right? And yes, like I said, you can give your one of the module again. That's a good news. If listening also you lose your marks, you can reappear for it. If speaking also you lose your marks, you don't get the accurate marks which you desire for, you can also reappear for it. Is there any other question which you would like to ask? Okay, you have also asked this thing, Emma, that computer or paper based, which is best. As I mentioned in the second last slide, that now from now onwards, IELTS examination is going to held on computer based only. Only the written examination, the written writing tasks, they will give you papers for that, so that you don't uh, get less marks in it, because in North Asian students likely to have a good hold once they write their answers on a paper sheet. So now you don't have an option, but they will give you papers for your writing, for your speaking. It could be happen that you have to attend it on the same day or on the next day accordingly to your dates. Yes. Any other questions before we end?
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have delivered the content with the clear clarity and confidence and expertise. Your practical tips and strategic guidance, the real-time examples were extremely helpful for all the participants aiming to excel in the IELTS exam. So thank you so much for your wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.